Good morning. It's Susan Matson. I'm at the Master Gardener booth at the Kandiyohi County Fair. We're here before the fair actually begins this morning, but there's a lot of activity going on around us. Some of the booths are getting set up, people are arriving, and lots of students here that are getting ready for their exhibits. But today we are in the Master Gardener booth. This is a place where people can walk around. We have a number of plants that I'm going to point out to you. We have a theme this year. Our Minnesota state theme is called Water Wisely. And so we've taken it on as our theme in Kandiyohi County. And water wisely means in dry seasons, and particularly for certain types of plants to plant and also take care of plants in a wise manner. And so if we have dry conditions here in our western part of Minnesota, then we need to plant native plants. We also need to take care of our plants so we're not overwatering and overusing water. So we have, in connection with our county fair exhibit, we also have a scarecrow contest. So it looks to me there's 4 or 5 scarecrows. We are here after a rain during the night, and so things are kind of dripping, but everything is very fresh. And so somebody has taken a display here about owls and decided to call it Water Wise. So we have some handmade owls here next to me, to my right, and they are in a pot, so they don't tip over. So it is one of the scarecrows is called Water Wise. I'm going to move around in the circle and cover all of the scarecrows, and then we'll be looking also at the plants that are available. Now, people in our organization bring their potted plants. They leave them here overnight. They make displays. So some are large, some are small, and there's all kinds of varieties of plants here. I want to point out a few of them that work really well in western Minnesota, because some of these we consider to be native or potted plants that would still work very well on your deck. And so I'll go around the circle. Some of these are more interesting than others. The one to my left here is called Irish Moss, and it's a good filler if you want to have, also because it's Irish moss, it does require a lot of water. But Irish moss is an interesting plant. And I also, to my left, have a lot of the red geraniums. And we love our red geraniums on our decks and on our porches. So we have red geraniums, and we have a large display over here. A couple of different kinds of plants that almost look like kale. And so vegetables are also allowed in our potted plant displays. You can pick anything, broccoli, kale, types of plants that would just, sweet potatoes are another choice that a lot of people have. So we have a potted plant here with some large plants. And then over here to my left, we have a smaller version, purple. And right below, a hanging plant here. As you can see, some of these are a little bit water drenched, but they still look really fresh this morning. So here is another scarecrow. And I'm not going to even begin to guess what this one's name is and how it really relates to Water Wisely. It's hanging in a tree. It's made out of rusty tin cans. But this is number 2 of the scarecrows that have been contributed to the Master Gardener booth. Next to me and next to the scarecrow, we have other plants that would be considered indoor plants. But right in front, there is a basket of sedum. One of our Master Gardeners, Becky West, will be giving a presentation on sedum. She also is the sedum queen of our county. So if you ever get a chance to see what her yard looks like, she has many displays of sedum, and they are a good native hardy plant to be planting in Minnesota. So going on, we have a bench for people to rest on. And here we have some sedum as well as succulents. And succulents are very hardy to dry conditions. I'm going to point out a couple of, we have sedum here, And back here we have succulents on a wreath that someone has put together. We have behind us many succulents, and they all do really well in dry conditions. In fact, I've seen sometimes a hillside just covered with succulents. So there's something to keep in mind. They're always beautiful. They're always a variety of plants. And so they actually make a nice combination if you have a dry area in your yard. We have many colored plants here. Zinnias back here are a native or a very hardy plant that we have in Minnesota. And leading up to some of the larger displays, we have some native grasses over here in these big pots. So native grasses are also becoming very popular now. And going over to the other side of the gate, another scarecrow. The scarecrow is called Mosquito. Honestly, truly, I'm not really sure. It looks like it could be a bird or some kind of thing flying. But this is another contributed scarecrow. The scarecrow contest, there's a money prize. I think it's $25 for a scarecrow that wins the first place. All right, over here we have some coleus, colored coleus right next to the hostas. And last month we did a program on hostas at Green Lake Nursery. This is a display of a number of small as well as large hostas. So for those of you who are interested, this is a good place to come out to take a look at both potted plants as well as hostas for your garden. All right, we'll continue over here to our last scarecrow. This one has all kinds of themes to it. It's called Welcome Blooms. And a little suitcase with flowers. A large, tall woman who is working in her garden. And she also has ivy growing out of her head. So it's a very unique plant. And more potted plants over here. Some large elephant leaves, as well as wandering vines. And over here some colorful blooms. So we are going to finish up our display here at the county fair, and we're going to look at a couple of other plants I wanted to point out that really work well this year, and these are over on our gate. Leading into our display is a beautiful wrought iron gate. It says Master Gardeners on it. I wanted to point out a couple of plants on here that I found to be new this year. They really, really do well in dry conditions, and they are hanging on the sides of the gate. This one is, and if I would have known they would have been here, I would have brought my tag along. It has tiny red flowers, almost looking like a cactus, but they grow really, really well in baskets. They hang down. I have some in a window box, and also I have some in a very dry area, and they have been doing really well in spite of some dry times that we've had this summer. So this is a new plant to look for. It's a variegated plant, and so if you are interested in something next year in a dry area, this is the plant to look for. So with that, in closing, we are here at the Master Gardener booth at the county fair, and everybody's getting ready, trying to clean up a little bit after the heavy rain. And so we'll see you next month for the Master Gardener Show.